Good day to you. It's Levels Plus Whenever, episode 94. I just woke up. It's going to be a doozy of one. Going to be talking about the post Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase that happened a couple days ago. And I've got a few pickups. So we'll do those first. They have a theme. Let's see if you can figure out what the theme is. So I got amiibo. So I got Toon Zelda and Skyward Sword Zelda and Smash Twilight Princess Zelda and Smash, technically Ocarina of Time, Sheik. Common theme, So for Femtendo 87, there's an article on Zeldas. And it's going all the way up to Tears of the Kingdom, which I need to write that one piece. But the rest of it's all written. And I realized that there's enough Zelda amiibo out there that I could take all 6 of them, because I have Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Zelda already, on a photo shoot somewhere and do that instead of the piece that I cobbled together out of official art, which I would much rather use toys and photographs and make it more artistic that way than using official art and potentially getting in trouble. So Nintendo did a direct, did a partner showcase. Only have one game of their own featured in this entire thing. So when I watched it and got to the end, I said it was about a C+. I've watched it a few times since then, watching other people react to it. I think that's kind of the general vibe, is that it was fine with some good stuff, but nothing that really knocked people out of their chairs, so to speak. So what I'm going to do is switch this to video mode, and we'll talk about things as they happen that I thought was interesting enough to be in my own reaction. So I'm keeping the audio off because you don't need to hear my voice twice. And we'll just go through this and we'll talk about each game as we go. Grounded. It was nice to kind of see the Xbox games just get going almost immediately. As I said in the reaction, I totally forgot about the potential that Microsoft was going to drop all the news about those games during the Direct, which technically it did. Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves are coming to PS5. But not to the Switch. So we got the 2 that are coming to the Switch, which we'll talk about Pentiment later. Ultimately, this doesn't do a ton for me, but it did kind of set the tone for this Direct, because Microsoft actually had a very big presence. 3 of the announcements were related to them. With perhaps the biggest one with the rare deluge that came to the Nintendo Switch Online apps. But, you know, for those who are into Grounded and wanted to play it on the go, I think that's really good news. But for me, personally, it's not doing a whole lot. Elder Magnolia, if I remember right, looks beautiful, and it reminded me that I need to play the first game, Ender Lilies. It looks beautiful, sounds interesting, has a plot that is quite dynamic. This was probably the biggest indie news that we didn't know about during this Direct, because we also got a lot of good updates on games we did know about. But this looks great, and again, I need to see if the first one is my cup of tea or not, or if And if not, then I guess there's not a whole lot for me to be excited about ultimately. But I think this is cool because a lot of people really like that game. Arranger. This is a cool looking game. It could be something I'm into. I wasn't really sure when I watched it the first time. But the more I look at it, the more I'm seeing the plot potential in it. And how it's telling a story in the background as you're doing stuff. So, I'm kind of intrigued by this. I'll probably give it a try. I would love a demo for it. Because I'm really curious about how it works. Unicorn Overlord. This by default is my game of this direct. Because it's already the game that I was most excited about. That hasn't come out yet. It's only like 2 weeks too. It's not that far off. One thing that I am curious about that I didn't realize when this was happening is there any English voice acting in this game? They have English text, but a video I watched after this only had Japanese VO, which, would be fine for a game like this, but it would be a little disappointing if they didn't take that extra step to get some English voice actors involved with a project of this scale. Monster Hunter Stories is coming to Switch after its 3DS debut several years ago. As I said when I originally watched this, the second game seems really solid. But it makes me wonder if there's a point in playing the first game. Because it's so much more evolved. And I don't know if you could create your own character. All the screenshots seem to indicate you're the boy. Which, I'll be honest, is a detriment to me. I would much rather have a character that I could create on my own. So I am happy for people who want this. But I don't know if I'm going to partake. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. More has come out about this. This is basically a re-release of the original game with a second story option instead of playing through it the way it was originally released. And they've refined things and all that. It's got a lot of the things that made the first game so likable for fans, but it's adding a whole bunch. I still don't remember if there was a second human partner in the original game. I never saw that in anything I saw about the game. There's new demons, there's all that stuff. If you own the original game, though, in a delightfully Atlas decision, you cannot transfer your save to Vengeance. Only 3 of the demons you caught. So basically, if you played 5 and you want to pick up Vengeance, which has the original story, because of how they've altered it, you can't transfer your save. And I think that is really antagonistic. It's almost Ultimate vs. Capcom 3 levels of bad. It's not even quite been a year. I think it will be by the time this game comes out, but it's one of those things where it's a slap in the face on people who supported the original game, and then you take that away from them when you introduce something better. I'm not a fan of that, and I wasn't already really that interested in 5 to begin with, so ultimately, a bad call on Atlas's part, and pretty much confirmed that even if I was interested in buying this, I probably won't, because I don't like how they decided to approach releasing this game and be antagonistic towards its own fans. It is not something I am about. So this is a brand new Super Monkey Ball exclusive to Switch. It looks fantastic. This is probably one of the better looking games that came out during this direct, because it was not a port. And it's clear that, Sega released a whole bunch of Super Monkey Ball remasters, and they saw that, hey, these are selling. Let's actually make a new one. It's not one of their super games, but I think that it's a great move, and it looks fantastic. I just wish I liked Super Monkey Ball, because I don't. I don't like the way it controls. World of Goo 2. This actually did show up at the Game Awards. I forgot. I thought it was at an Indie World thing during the reaction. I think that this is fantastic for fans of the original, but I don't think it's got enough personality, and I mean that in a character-driven sense, not necessarily a visual aesthetic sense, because this definitely has personality in that front. But for me, like, characters really matter a lot, and as cute and as clever as this is, puzzle games like this are not really my bag unless there's some sort of characterization going on there. So I'm glad this exists. I'm glad that it's coming out. I think it looks a lot of fun. The multiplayer would be really interesting. It's just probably not a game I'm going to pick up myself. Fantasy Life I totally forgot about level 5. Which, I suppose is their own fault, because they decided to basically take a break from developing anything for consoles for a long time. But it was a year ago where they made their grand debut with, re-debut. I don't know how to refer to that. Their return. There we go. That's the word I want. With Fantasy Life I and Deca Police and a new Layton game. Fans of the original game seem pretty happy with how this is looking. I hope that this turns out well. It's not coming out until October, so they're definitely having some hitches with it, because it keeps getting postponed a little bit and a little bit. But I am hopeful, and I hope that fans of the games are excited, and it's as good as the 3DS game. I'm going to need a little bit more convincing, though, for me to be really invested about it. Another Crab's Treasure. Boy, this is a charming game. This was probably the game that I'm most interested in that I don't think I'm going to like. Because it's so charming. They've taken the aesthetic of being a hermit crab and being underwater and all that stuff, and just have built such a charming looking world with really good character designs and world design. It's a very pleasing looking game. I just don't really like Souls combat, and if this game is going to be all about precision dodging and pattern memorization and losing all your stuff if you fail, and it's like, I just don't know if it's going to be a game for me. But I think this game looks fantastic, and if there's a demo, I would be really happy to try it out, because of any Souls-like that I've seen, this is one that interests me the most. Because it's just different. It's not dark and gloomy. So we had a whole bunch of stuff in this little highlights. Penny's Big Breakaway is out, which was a surprise. I didn't expect it to be out quite the day of the Direct. No physical as of this moment that I've seen, so that's kind of what I'm waiting for. But it looks wonderful. I am very excited about being able to give this a go. I've been waiting for a good 3D platformer that isn't made by Nintendo, that has an art style and an aesthetic that I like, and doesn't have something problematic going on with it. I won't drop names, but this looks like a fantastic game, and I'm very excited. Suka Game getting multiplayer, I think, is a big deal, along with a couple other updates. Since it's so cheap, in the first place. Adding the multiplayer as a DLC isn't really that bad. I don't know how much they're asking for it, but since it's like $3 to get the core game, I can't imagine it's too much more to get multiplayer. And you can get a combo of both now. But yeah, this game is cute and adorable. I tried it out. I did a round. It's not my thing, but it's something that really took off last year, and I'm glad it's still getting support. Pepper Grinder. I expected something from Devolver. Of course, I wanted Neva, but Pepper Grinder is a very good second place, and it looks fantastic. There's a demo out. I'm going to be giving that a shot in the near future. I'm very excited to give this game a go. It looks so good. And I hope that it's my jam, because it looks like it's my jam. Pocket Card Jockey. Right on! A lot of people were pretty hyped about this. This is getting free from Apple Arcade and mobile to come to Switch. It was a 3DSware game, if I remember right, originally. It looks really cute, but it's card-based, so my interest is pretty much null and void. But I am glad to see this come on to Switch, because it made a lot of people happy. Snufkin is beautiful. I just don't really have any attachment to Moomin, and I think that might be a big part of appreciating it. So I'll probably see what people think of it, but it is a beautiful looking game. They nailed the look. Tales of Kenzura continues to look good. I don't know if Switch is going to be the preferred platform for it, though. Contra Operation Galuga, in the sense this is going off the screen really fast. It's looking better. There is a demo now available. But I'm very excited. I have heard extremely good things from some die-hard Contra fans who have gotten a chance to play it already. So I am already excited to give it a go. Pentiment is the other big Microsoft announcement outside of the Rare stuff, which makes sense, and this is the one I'm actually most interested in, because I've heard really good things about how this game works. And a lot of people were giving it like Game of the Year stuff in 2022. So I'm excited to try it out. Alright, we got a big Nintendo Switch Online announcement, but it wasn't a new console, it was a whole bunch of Rare stuff. And I have to admit, if they didn't drop that Nintendo Switch Online in front of this, I would have thought Rare Replay was coming. Which honestly would have been more exciting, because you'd get a lot more stuff in one package and you could physically own it, or digitally own it. But they picked 5 extremely good games across Rare's catalog, and as of prior to this broadcast, we only had 3 N64 Rare games. So now we're getting stuff for the NES and Super Nintendo, which is pretty big news, honestly, because that means that the relationship is going into stuff that Nintendo doesn't necessarily own, even though they published 3 of these games. So what are we getting, in case you missed it? We're getting Snake Rattle and Roll, we're getting Battletoads, Battle Maniacs, we're getting RC Pro-Am, we're getting Killer Instinct for the Super Nintendo, and Blast Corps. All of these games are good. There is no complaints about any of them, and RC Pro-Am is one of the best NES games. Battletoads is probably the most questionable game on here. The Super Nintendo port of Killer Instinct is solid, and Blast Corps is really creative and fun, and tense. All of these games are good. So this is great, and I hope that we get more soon, and not just at a direct, but like just more Rare stuff. Makes sense to have it on Nintendo platforms. The last announcement was for Endless Ocean Luminous, the only Nintendo published game on here. It is not been announced if Eureka's doing this. It would be surprising if they weren't, since they developed the original 2 games, and their relationship with Nintendo continues to be excellent. This looks beautiful. It's got some frame issues when we get into the multiplayer. But the fact that it's random every time you dive, and that you can play it with up to like 30 or 32, I don't quite remember the number, and the number's about to pop up. People online, and discover like 500 different things as you're wandering around the sea. I think they have taken the Wii franchise and really modernized it in all the right ways. I'm really intrigued by this game. I do want to know more about how the solo experience is before I get too excited, because that would probably be what I would prefer to do. But overall, I think this was a solid B-level game to announce to kind of fill a little hole in that release calendar following Princess Peach Showtime. But we still have a lot of mystery about the year ahead. Once summer rolls around, when's Luigi's Mansion 3 or 2? When's Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door? Pokemon Presents is next week. That'll probably fill a hole possibly in April, because we don't have anything lined up for that. As well as potentially a holiday title. But this Direct felt very, we're moving into the next console generation, to me personally. And that's not a bad thing. The Switch has been going for 8 years. Starting in April. It's been a monumental success, not just financially, but I think creatively for Nintendo and for many of its partners. It's been the best console that I've ever owned in terms of content. And I want to see more of what Nintendo can do with all of their teams working on a singular console instead of being split across 2 different platforms. Because I think that was a brilliant move to have everybody working on one console, because it brought out some of Nintendo's most excellent work. But I think that this was a perfectly serviceable partner showcase. It just didn't have a whole lot of pizzazz. C+ still sounds good. Still sounds right to me. And that's not a bad thing. And I think like Intermagnolia and the rare stuff, out of what I showed you, was like the new things that weren't really known, because this thing leaked so bad in comparison to most. I want to say that basically it was a very good assumption that Xbox was going to show off stuff here. So Grounded and Pentiment made a lot of sense. I want to say that Monster Hunter Stories was leaked by Capcom themselves on accident. There were a lot of leakers talking about Contra and Penny's Big Breakaway. I'm trying to remember what else. The Super Monkey Ball, I think, got leaked a little early. Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance got leaked early by a rating. So yeah, there was just a lot of content in here that we kind of already knew was coming, and then a lot. Oh, and Pocket Card Junkie as well. And then on top of that, there wasn't a whole lot of new, like brand new stuff. There was a lot of things we knew about but maybe haven't seen in a while, which is not a bad thing. It was great seeing more of Pepper Grinder, and that having a demo out now is awesome. I'm really excited to give that a go. among other things. I think Arranged looks really promising. I think Another Crab's Treasure looks really promising. So this was, like I said, pretty decent. But outside of the rare stuff, I don't think I cussed at all. And that's usually my barometer of hype level in terms of being surprised by something. So we'll see what the future holds. The rumor mill is spinning out that there will be an indie world in March and a console reveal in April for the next system. And we'll have to see if there's any merit to that or not. I imagine Nintendo's going to be looking at that leaky ship of theirs, though, and trying to figure out where it's coming from. Because quite a bit of their thunder was stolen. But even with that, I think it was a good direct. So I'm walking away from it happy and not disappointed. I will add that, since you didn't see any of it here, that Embracer sure had a big footprint on this. Between Epic Mickey and South Park and the Star Wars Battlefront and Kingdom Come Deliverance, there was 4 titles of theirs spotlighted here. And boo, because they're terrible. And we didn't have Square Enix here at all, which is just interesting, because they have stuff coming out for Switch. They have Saga, they have Dragon Quest 3, 2D HD, or however the world Square Enix calls their technology for that. We also had some interesting news from Japan. Furyu is teaming up with Natsume Atari for an RPG that they revealed there. And then Mother 3 was the NSO feature for them in comparison to 5 rare games. Which, has people all aflutter. I could say I have Mother 3 on my Switch because I have the Japanese NSO. But the localization fervor is picked up a little bit again because of that. And we'll see if anything comes from it. I'm not sure. Let's end there. I think that's enough ruminations on everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Take care.